The Indian diaspora is 3.1%, last I recall, of the total population, 1.86 million, and a very important swing factor in elections, particularly recently. But I think there has been a concerted effort by both parties to woo the Indian vote. And that's very interesting. You mentioned about visiting temples. I recall that candidates, even non-Indian origin candidates, visited Indian temples in the past, wooing the diaspora vote, but also, I think, celebrating important Indian festivals. I recall going to 10 Downing Street to celebrate Diwali when Theresa May was the Prime Minister, and I think that tradition has continued. So I think the importance of the Indian diaspora vote is clearly underlined by not only the leadership of the main parties in the UK, but also the number of candidates that they are putting up from the diaspora.
The Labour Party, we are a socialist party, and we have certain idols and certain principles which we don't compromise. Be it Britain, be it India, be it US, be it Pakistan, be it any country, right? Things like freedom of speech, democracy, human rights, okay, respect for law. So these things, and also an individual's ability to participate and progress in a democratic structure. So all these things, they are very, very, what you call, essential things on which the Labour Party does not compromise. And at no stage, let me make it very, very, very clear to you. I've been member of the Labour Party for the last 30 years. Labour Party has never, ever been anti-India. See, again, you have members of parliament who speak in favor of India. You have member of parliament that speak in favor of anti-India countries. Right. Now, that is their freedom of speech and their prerogative. Right. Now, end of the day, you must judge by what decision a government takes. Tell me one decision that a Labour government has taken that is anti-India. I challenge everyone. There's not a single decision that has been taken by a Labour government which is anti-India. There may be some MPs who have soft corner for Pakistan. There are some MPs who have soft corner for India. There are MPs who have concerns about human right violation in Punjab. So the thing is, officially, let me make it very clear to your viewers that Labour Party has never ever taken a anti-India stand. Labour Party, I mean to say, is a Labour government. The only thing which comes to people's mind is, I'll tell you, on 24th September 2019 at the Labour Party conference, I'm telling you, it is only a party conference. At a party conference, a motion was passed, and that motion was, yes, it was it was not in favor of India, but that motion never went any forward. That motion was not adopted by the Parliamentary Labour Party. That motion never took life. So, but yes, again, the perception builds up. There is a media hype, and then people get. These days people believe more in social media than in the frontline media.
Proof of the pudding is in its eating. While Dr. Patil has been, he's correct that, as far as policies go, as far as Labour hasn't been in government for 14 years, so they have not been able, they haven't there's no government policy as such that has been anti-India from their part. But their pronouncements, certainly he mentioned the resolution of 2019, which we in India perceive as a direct interference in our internal affairs. And there have been statements by the leadership at various levels which have not been received well in India. And it's not just social media, it is also perception gained from what is stated publicly. and as reported. So I think we need to be careful here. We obviously cannot condemn any party, certainly not. That is not the intention. And I think the Labour has moved far to the center now than it was earlier under
Right.
the previous leader, Jeremy Corbyn. Now, I remember during Jeremy Corbyn's time, there was a coterie of MPs from the Midlands, Bradford, etc., who
Yes.
determined Labour's policy towards South Asia. We found that quite visible in the pronouncements. But Sir Keir Starmer has actually moved the party to centre. He
Right.
has reached out to the not just to the Indian diaspora, but to the Indian government. I remember the Shadow Foreign Secretary David Lammy reaching out. Recently, he made a speech. These are very encouraging signs. And I think
Yes.
people like Dr. Patil and other old-timer politicians of Indian origin who are in the Labour Party will help, obviously, in moderating their positions, or at least ensuring that they take fair positions. Dr. Patil mentioned human rights in Punjab. I don't want to respond to that directly because I have now retired from the government. But I could certainly pick out human rights issues regarding women in the Midlands or in Bradford or some other place. But I
Yes.
won't. But I'm just trying to say that every country, democracy, even the best of democracies, have certain shortcomings. And I think all of us try and address those issues. But finger pointing, and
Right.
particularly misplaced finger pointing, causes unnecessary bad blood and then vitiates the
Yes.
relationship. But
Right.
I'm sanguine that with this Labour coming to power, there will be this emphasis on commonality of interests. You
Yes.
mentioned FTA. The FTA is very important. We've heard statements for the Labour leadership that they want to continue
Yes.
with an FTA which is mutually beneficial. And I think we have traveled quite a distance as far as negotiations on the FTA are concerned. And I do hope that with the new government in the saddle in the UK, we will be able to pursue that line and come up with a mutually beneficial FTA which will emphasize the complementarities of both the economies and be beneficial to both.